All right, we'll jump into it here. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Johnson. I'm part of the product team here at Steelhead, and today we're going to talk about the few new AI features we've launched just about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We're going to get into Sonar Analytics, Pings, and also talk about AI order entry and receiving. We're going to get into how they work, what they are, and then hopefully have a little bit of time for Q&A towards the end. So jumping right into it, uh, most of you probably use Sonar every single day. You're getting questions answered such as like, how do I create an invoice? How do I edit this work order? Stuff like that. You also have probably used Sonar to answer questions such as, hey, where are parts on work order 8711, for example? And you'll get an answer saying, hey, you have 100 parts in receiving, you have 100 parts on the auto line, whatever it may be. But the big thing that we're going to be talking about here, the big update for Sonar, is that it has access to your reporting database now. So you can ask questions to Sonar about things like, for example, how are my sales trends for this month? And Sonar will go off and it will start looking through your reporting database and understand what's going on and get you an answer for the question you've asked. So in this case, we're asking, hey, what are my sales trends for this month? You can see a nice chart gets populated here. And really what's going on is that Sonar first will understand the question you're asking and then go through and look for available insight reports. So in this case, as most of you know, we have an insight report for invoicing for revenue in particular. And what will happen here is that this question went through, looked at that insight report and got an answer back. Super valuable if you're, for example, on the road or you just have a question that kind of popped into your mind, and you're curious, like, hey, what are sales looking like? You can ask things, like such as quality, how's rework going the last week or month or whatever it may be, and it'll go ahead and use the quality reports to get you an answer to that question. And of course, here you can see we got a little bit of text that's stating month to date total, about $54,000. Revenue's been sporadic. Kind of give you a summary or synopsis of what you're seeing above. And of course, you can jump into and say, okay, well, what in this case, why was June 19th? Why was that such a good day? And you can kind of go through and ask additional follow-up questions, just like a normal conversation or chat you may have with one of your coworkers. So you can kind of go through and just keep going back and forth until satisfied your request. The other thing is that too is one of the recent updates we've had with Sonar is that if you ask a question, for example, you're trying to link in rework information with invoicing information, and maybe you're trying to connect a couple different things across your shop. Sonar has the ability to go out and create its own custom SQL queries for that particular question you've asked. So if it's something that's not available in Insights, uh, Sonar will go through and generate a report for you to get you an answer to that question, to connect those different parts of your business. So the other thing to know as far as Sonar and analytics goes is that anybody can ask any question, but doesn't necessarily mean they'll get that answer back. And what I mean by that is that if I'm someone in quality and I only have access to view the quality insight reports, I can't come into Sonar and ask all sorts of questions about invoicing revenue because I don't have those permissions to view those insight reports. So Sonar is looking at the user that's asking the questions and looking at their permissions to make sure that it only gives you answers back that are based off of the okayed permissions for that user. And then for the custom SQL generation, if you have the custom reporting permission enabled for that user, they can go through and then have Sonar create custom queries for some of those maybe abstract questions that you're asking. So quick 1-2 here with Sonar and analytics. Really jumping into the next thing is Pings. So Pings is very similar to Sonar Analytics in that it is looking through your reporting database. But really the value and the differentiator here with Sonar Pings is that Sonar can go through on a regular scheduled cadence, look through those different look through the prompt that you set, look through those insight reports and get you an answer on some sort of scheduled basis. So for example, with Pings, we've seen a lot of usage around, for example, give me a weekly quality review. And really what you're seeing here is Sonar going off, in this case, at 8 in the morning. I think this is on the 22nd, so on a Monday. So every Monday at 8 a.m., Sonar is going through your prompt, and this prompt, for example, is rework, and it'll go through, pull the existing insight reports, generate a chart, and give you a summary based off of the question you've asked in your prompt. And just like with Sonar, you have the ability to go back and forth and chat. So, for example, you've gotten a response, from Sonar. You can go back and forth, read through this, and then kind of say, "Hey, this is interesting. I see that station operation cost fell to 582,000 in May and 564 in June." You kind of read through this and say, "Hey, maybe something catches your eye." Just like with Sonar, you can go ahead and ask a question, asking some follow-up questions. We've seen a lot of use with this feature for those weekly staff meetings. For example, if you have a weekly meeting with your crew, maybe Thursday morning, you want to go ahead and get some sort of ping out to your users uh, before that call, so that everyone has some sort of brief on what happened the previous week. Maybe you have a quality meeting you have every week. You can go ahead and get a ping just for the quality, and I'll kind of show you here how this works as far as setup goes. So really, all you do, create a new ping, give it a quick name. You may say weekly operations report out. You can go ahead and select the recipients. So in this case, these are the people that are going to get a email or an in-app banner notification for the receiving of this ping. Go ahead and select whomever you may want. And then also pick the run schedule. So you have the option between daily, weekly, and monthly. And really just depends on the usage of the ping and what you're looking to get out of it. We've seen a lot of weekly pings, like I said, for those staff meetings. But if you want something a little bit more high touch, then daily might be for you. Maybe if you just want like a monthly revenue report, for example, you would go with the monthly option. So really, with weekly, you would pick the day of the week. We'll go with Thursday. So you have that weekly staff meeting at 8:30, for example. So maybe you want this to be sent out at 8 to give everyone a little bit of time to look at it. Maybe you want to go Wednesday in the afternoon, kind of up to you. And really, you have a couple options here then as far as how far back you want the data to go. And in this case, maybe with a weekly call, it's only really valuable to go back a couple weeks worth of information and reporting. So you can go back 14 days and we'll run analysis on that. You can go back, of course, further if you need, kind of a longer term analysis. And really, as far as the AI summary goes, in this case, weekly operations, we'll say just, give me a report out on how operations are going. Of course, it'd be awesome if it could spell, but this is really the idea. You create this, and next thing you know, you have a ping that's ready to go for Thursday. You have the option to come back and look through existing pings too, in case you kind of remembered one that was sent out the other day. Maybe it was sent out last week, and you kind of want to go back and just further analyze that. You can kind of come back and look at this history. So it looks like we have a chat here from Renee. Checked my Sonar app, not seeing pings because it's not been released yet. So good question. This has been released. This is something that is available. If as far as setup goes, Renee, the best thing to do would be to reach out to the support team or your customer outcomes manager, and we'll start the process for getting you set up. There's just a couple things you have to check before getting you up and running on pings and really any of these AI features. So not just pings, but analytics as well as order entry. Yeah, feel free to reach out to support, or maybe someone from the support team can reach out to you. Can you customize data periods such as weekly, 7 days? So I think, Liberta, if I'm seeing this correctly, can you customize? So as far as this question here, yep, I did skip this over. You can just go back 7 days. In this case, this is what this custom days field would be. You have the option to just pick one of these standards, but custom days, you just punch in 7 in this value and go from there. All good questions. Can you set up recurring pings? Yes, for sure. That's what pings are. So you can see here on the left-hand side. Let's see, I can just pick out I guess any one of these, like this weekly quality review. If I go ahead and edit this one, this is scheduled for weekly, Monday at 8 a.m. So you can expect every Monday at 8 a.m. you get a weekly quality review that's got to focus on rework and on holds with historical trends from the last 90 days. So that's what a ping is. It's a weekly, monthly, or daily update into your inbox. And as far as notifications goes, we up here in the top right, we have this notifications bell. If you click on the settings, you have the option to configure your own settings as an individual. So for example, pings, maybe you don't want to get the email. Yeah, you can turn the email option off and just have the banner show up in your screen. And that'll be, kind of shown on the top right here. Hey, you got a new ping. This is your quality report, for example. You can do this with a couple different other features. All right, so I'm going to jump into order entry and receiving. So for order entry receiving, there's really a couple ways to kick off this workflow. You can start from sales orders. If you can come here, enter your order in this way. But if you also go through receiving, we also have the option to kick off the order entry flow from receiving. So it should be flexible for a couple of your different workflows that you have. It really just depends on you and how you guys are operating. But we'll jump into sales orders for right now. And really all it is instead of clicking the red new sales order button, you come here. And the way that this process and flow works is that you upload your files, upload your pictures of your order, whatever it may be. The extraction starts, extracting the information from your PDF, and then the third is that you review and then import that information. So a couple things here right off the bat that you're seeing on this page is that really there's a file upload option. Either drag and drop into this section here, upload files from your folder, or there's a camera option. So if you're walking around with an iPad, for example, you got your phone, you can go ahead and use the camera, take pictures of the physical purchase order that you have, or packing slip, maybe if you're in receiving, and it'll start the order entry process and extraction process once you're done and upload those things. A couple other things here as well. You can see we have a couple jobs for us to review. You can filter this list by all jobs that have been imported over the past. You can see any canceled jobs, but the default here is active. A couple different sort bys, filtering options here as well. I see that you got a question from Nancy. I don't see AI option in my screen. Nancy, same likewise for you that we discussed here with Renee. We'll need to go ahead and do a little bit of setup to get you guys going with all these AI features. I think someone from the Steelhead team will reach out to you to get you set up. Looks like Lydia will get in touch with you. So the other thing before we kind of jump into this is that we have managed rules. So this is a pretty cool feature where you can upload, kind of maybe some of that tribal knowledge that you have about, for this particular customer, maybe the part number name is in the description field, not the item name. They just make their orders that way for whatever reason. You can create these custom rules that'll be ran with every single AI job that you have, so that any of those little things will they won't go missed, right? So it allows the AI to see, okay, for example, look in the description, find the part number, and that will then therefore have better accuracy, and you're having less time reviewing or less time editing the information, review, and then just import. So for example, a common rule that you may have is that you will say, okay, look for the options. And you may say, for example, hey, we have our customers like to handwrite ASAP or expedite on the purchase orders. They might write it in a big pen. And you'll say, okay, well, when we see that, when we're extracting the information, I want to add a fee line, for example. So in this case, we want to run this with all customers, not just one customer in particular. So we'll leave this customer field blank. But of course, if you have something for a particular customer, like for example, that description line item example, you can say, okay, for ABC fabrication, look in description. But in this case, we want to apply this for all orders. You have the option to pick where it runs. So does it run just kind of for the whole order as a whole or the line items in particular? In this case, we want to look, at the whole order because this applies to the whole purchase order. And it'll say, look for words like ASAP or maybe like right now, whatever it may be, and add a line item for a fee. So this you can then create this and this will get ran with every single extraction job just to make sure you're not missing any of those little things. So really what happens here is that you take a file. So I'm going to pull a file up from my other screen and drag it into here. And as soon as you drop it in or upload a file, the processing kicks off and takes place. And one thing to know about this is that this does take, it is pretty quick for some of the smaller files. But if you're getting into files that are maybe 20 pages long, it will take a little bit longer. So just as a general rule of thumb, longer or bigger PDFs will take longer in time for processing. But we can go ahead and take a look at one of these here. So really what you're seeing is the extraction now at this point. So we've uploaded the information. If I want to add a field for the AI to look for, I'm looking from Adam here. If I want to add a field for the AI to look for, would I add a rule? Yeah, so you can add a rule there. I'm not sure exactly what field you're looking for, but maybe if it's a particular, like a spec, for example, or maybe you're looking for some sort of treatment. Yeah, so you could do that. Look for treatments. That would be a good usage of rules. Maybe for example, it's like, hey, treatments are buried in like the second paragraph of the description or something. Whatever it may be. Yeah, that would be a good usage of a rule. So jumping into here, we have on the left-hand side, we have the order we uploaded. So this is the PDF that you got from your customer, in this case, Boeing. And on the right-hand side, you have the extracted information. So really here is kind of the basic order information. So we have the customer, we have the sales order number here. You kind of see it listed in the top right. Deadline, customer information, kind of the basic information about the order. In the bottom, we have our sales order custom inputs. So if you are filling in custom inputs all the time for your sales orders, this will go through and try to extract that information and upload it as a custom input. A couple of things to know before we jump off of the screen is that on the right-hand side, you have a couple of these little tokens, looking things here. And really what this is saying, okay, hey, we matched up Boeing with one of your existing customers in your database. So we're gonna go ahead and assign this order to Boeing. So we go through and try our best to match with where we can, so we're not creating any duplicates. So you have that connection of those parts moving forward. In this case, this sales order is new. We have a will create option here. So this is showing you this is a new order. You have the option to go ahead and actually kick off the order here if you'd like to ahead of time, or else we just import, we'll go ahead and get that information and that sales order will be created. And really the second part to this is just validating the lines that are being pulled. So you can see we can pull part lines. So these are the part numbers that are going to be running, processing, and we have our fee lines as well. In this case, we didn't have any fee lines. Can we adjust the sales orders to be purchase orders? I'm assuming you're talking about this little piece right here. That part isn't adjustable, Adam. Yeah, so this is just kind of matching with the existing terminology throughout the application. But if I jump back here to part lines, here now we can do a quick look over, right? So we have ANP 13. You can see that this is the part number that I pulled. This case is an existing part that we're seeing. So we matched up there. We have quantity 12, so they're looking for 12 of these parts, and we're going ahead with the price of $87.50, and here's the description. So this is really that at this point, the goal is to go through these just one by one, make sure the information looks good. This is matching up with what the order is showing us, right? If you click on some of these lower parts, you see they spilled over onto page 2, and really you're looking to make sure this is right? Make sure this is accurate. And once you've done that, really the next decision for you to make is import. Now you have two options on import. Really, you can import, or you can import and generate work orders. So really the difference is that maybe you want to enter in the sales order ahead of time and you haven't actually received the parts yet. You want to go ahead and just get the sales order in place so that the receiving team gets it. They can receive against that sales order. That's when you would use this import option. Import and generate work orders, of course, is saying, okay, we have the parts, we're ready to go. We'll go ahead and just create the work orders. So in this case, I'll just go ahead and click that and continue through here. You can see since a lot of these are existing parts, we have a lot of default information already pulled in, which is great. And really, it's save. So just really in a matter of a minute or two, we were able to get, looks like I think 9 different line items here imported into Steelhead. Um, so that's really what we've been seeing from a lot of the early users of this feature is that this is saving them on average about 75% of their time during order entry. Some people reporting up to 90 or even 95% of their time during order entry with this tool. So super exciting opportunity to go ahead and leverage this platform. Would it work with other languages? Get purchase orders from other countries, Mexico, France, Taiwan? Absolutely. Yeah, so it's not just English. This should work with just about anything. Good question, Matthew. Really, the only thing before we kind of open it up with some questions is receiving. So receiving is very, very similar. Same button on the top here. Same looking starting point here as far as your upload files, as far as your table goes. And the only difference at this point is that you're entering your batches, right? We have our batches of information. The full flow is the same. Left-hand side is the PDF. Right-hand side are the batches or the information that's being extracted. And from here, really the goal is to just look at the files again, confirm import, and go from there. And here receiving, you have the option to not follow through with the sales order creation. You can just save them as received batches. In this case, you can kind of go through to the work order. So you can kind of see it's a matter of uploading a couple files. You have the ability to go through and complete the order entry process pretty quickly. Before we open it up for a couple minutes of Q&A, really the only other thing to touch on are a couple settings. So inside a domain, we have a couple of settings here that would be of interest. So with sales orders, we have the option to say, okay, for example, we don't want to extract custom inputs for the sales order. You can remove that from the view. So that's something that's not being shown or extracted. And that's true for, I guess, any of these fields we see visible. And then also use default. For example, if you don't want to use the default customer contact that was on the purchase order, and you always want to use your own contact, you go ahead and use the default contact in this case. That'll probably be a popular selection for price and unit. For example, you have your own quoted price or you have your own prices saved for part number. You'll go ahead and just have this use default option selected for price and unit. And so likewise with these couple items too. For receiving, you have the options for containerizing parts as well, or your part grouping, whatever you're going with. So go ahead and group those parts out into maybe skids. If you have 5 skids of 200, so the quantity of 1,000 gets broken up. We have the option to do that as well. So very similar on the settings side. And really the final thing is that this tool gets better the more that you use it. So the more purchase orders you extract and upload with a particular customer, the tool kind of learns on itself. And like, for example, maybe in the review page, you tweaked a little value on the custom inputs, or you tweaked a value on the description. The AI will remember that for the next time it runs an order for that customer. So it'll be more accurate for that particular purchase order template extraction. So one thing to know is that over time, this should just become better and better, saving you more and more time. Where can they take picks at receiving AI? Good question. So here, same thing, jump into this AI receiving entry, and over to the right-hand side, there's take photos. So this will open up the camera and you can just start taking multiple pictures. Super valuable if you get maybe a stack of papers for a packing slip, for example. You can just kind of go page by page and upload those at once. If set to use default, can be overridden at any point if required? Absolutely. Great question. So I'll kind of jump into, let's see here, one of these ones. So you have the option. Really what that setting does, Renee, is that it defaults to this selection right here. In this case, we didn't have any default pricing for this part number, and that's why I went to the document. But if you had default pricing, this would be selected instead of the top option here for document. And if you wanted to switch back to it, you could just select the document. You can edit it too if need be, if you want to change the value. Question from Travis here. Which modules are connected to the order entry AI within Steelhead? Is the order entry AI connected to part numbers, margin reports, quotes, and able to flag discrepancies, error in pricing? New Sonar capability with porting connected to the order entry AI. So to answer that question, Travis, really what you see here is what the AI is able to extract and work with. So part numbers, yes, it's able to kind of go through the part numbers and see to of course match them, right? Likewise with your customers and pricing. But is it connected to your margin reports and quoting? No, AI order entry is not connected with your margin information. But Sonar and Sonar Analytics is. So if you want to get maybe a ping every week about margin, for example, you can set that up. Either ask the question to Sonar or get a weekly ping, for example. Can you take from Renee receive? Can you take pictures of the POs and parts themselves with the camera? Yes. Yep. So that's what this would be. Hopefully this one gets it here. Go to the AI receiving page, take the picture of. So really, what you want to do is take a picture of the PO, because that's got the text and information on what the parts are and how they, what's on the order. So you'd want to take a picture of the purchase order, um, instead of just the parts. Hopefully that one helps. Can we connect an order entered through AI to a quote? So Adam, yes, I would say the way that it's connected is, so if you're going through AI order entry, your pricing. So if you have the use default for a price and unit selected, what happens is, if you quoted that part, right, for example, we'll be pulling in that quoted price for that part. So what would happen is, okay, when we add that to the order, okay, we know that this was the quoted price, and then from there you'll be able to see that connection, like this sales order line for this part was connected to this quote line of whatever quote was created in the past. And then as far as receiving goes, like same story with that price and unit selection. You also have the ability, like just in general, like with receiving, if you wanted to kind of edit this, you have the ability to just attach a quote, maybe if it wasn't attached to start with, just so you have that pricing connected to that part in receiving. Question from Liberta, can we set a rule for AI to read a certain line item or column of a PO to pull in part numbers and associated for that particular customer? Yes. So that should happen automatically. You don't have to create a rule for that. So that's done automatically through the order entry process, through the extraction process, is that it is looking for those part numbers. And just maybe another point of clarification too, is that if it finds a part number that's not in your system for that customer, it will give you the option, it'll show that it'll create a new part number. So a new part can be created from this page here if it's not matching on an existing one. So it does do that connection automatically and associates it to that customer. So yes, in short. All in all, good questions. Of course, feel free to reach out to either myself, mike@gosteel.com, or support team. Be happy to kind of walk through any maybe questions that weren't covered. Um, any questions that weren't covered during this Q&A session.